Welcome, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers. It's your only friend in these YouTube streets, Puertorock 77, and I'm back with another hot take. Now, as you can see from the title, it's about... So, let me wrap this up together, all right? Right now, there's a little momentum, and it's not a huge momentum, not big momentum. It's slowly contained within the hardcore. But as you can see, PlayStation is a bit more than a buzzword as compared to the Xbox Series X. They're actually showing stuff that's being translated into the content and the games that we can actually play. Perfect example is Puertorock, which is now available. Lots of positive impressions, and you see already it has a very good Metacritic score, especially from Housemarque, who traditionally makes arcade type shooters and stuff. This is a good example of them stepping up their game and now delving into the world of AAA, and they were very successful at it. Right now, of course, we're gonna have to wait and see how successful the game is sales wise and profit wise, but that's a conversation for another. As far as content for the PlayStation 5 gamer, it's a great game. People are enjoying it, and that's just one of the baby steps towards creating a great library of content. On top of that, yesterday we had the state of play. People saw gameplay of Ratchet & Clank, and again, another impressive showing, demonstrating the capability of SSD, Insomniac's incredible talent with ray tracing and graphics, and it's just particle effects. They are setting the bar and setting the example. What PlayStation is doing is actually putting the buzzwords into the hands of the gamers, and we can clearly see the results of how great. Right now, on the flip side, you know, with Xbox, it's a huge momentum with Game Pass. MLB The Show was there, Day One Game Pass, Outriders, and the planned rumors of Battlefield 6 potentially being on Day One Game Pass. This right here has been the big push for Xbox, you know, or jumping onto the Xbox platform, trying to sign on to the Netflix of gaming. You know, where you could play a huge library of games at a low price of $15 a month if you choose the Ultimate plan, and I think $10 a month for the regular Xbox Game Pass plan that doesn't include online, right? But you know, it's just, you could say it's just bad timing, right? The recent addition to Game Pass is Second Extinction, which is like an early preview games, and of course we know early preview games always have issues. That's why they're called early preview. But it's just bad optics and timing that this game came right alongside, you know, against, you know, Returnal. And then with the state of play of showing Ratchet & Clank, it's just a little bit of, you know, jarring. And it's like, wait a minute, you know, what's going on here? You know, you're starting to see just a little bit of, I want to say doubt, but a little bit of questioning of like, wait a minute, how long is this sustained idea of Game Pass while PlayStation's releasing game after game and actually showing not the buzzwords, but they're showing the technology behind these games, and they're putting it in the gamers' hands, right? Before any of that, though, we got to look at how this all started, right? Obviously, you know, there's always going to be talk of PlayStation 5 versus Xbox Series X. You know, there's always going to be talk of competition between two consoles. Whether you console war or your professional outlets, there's always going to be some type of conversation at different levels, whether it's professional, podcasting, fanboying, console warring, or just general consumer tech talk. There's always going to be the two going to be pitted against each other, right? And Xbox, for the most part from the get-go, was touted for its power, its performance, and it was just week after week of people talking about 12 T-flops, rebel ray shadings, you know, RDNA 2, smart delivery, and all this stuff. It was so bad. Right. Well, it was immensely bad up until we got some results. Now, this is just one example of PlayStation 5, you know, outperforming Xbox Series X in a particular game. Now, to be fair, it's been a mixed bag between the two platforms. You have some games perform better on PlayStation 5. You have some games performing better on Xbox Series X. Right. The problem is, it was hyped to have a clear-cut advantage, and by it, I mean the Xbox Series X. At no point was the thought or the conversation was, well, you know, it's a mixed bag, it could go either way. No. As you can see, one example from Tom Warren, he said there's always going to be a gap, that there always going to be a performance. He even claimed that potentially real-world performance on the PS5, as you can see, he has 9 T-flops. while Xbox Series X is touting 12 T-flops. Right? Now that the console's out for November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Now we're in May, 7 months. And we see multiple examples of these multi-plats PS5 version outperform Xbox Series X. And vice versa. There's no clear-cut difference. So that kind of died out. So now it's really the Game Pass versus $70 games or whatever in quality. But with PlayStation releasing quality content, and Microsoft is still trying to do what they got to do to get content going, the hardcore, some hardcore starting to notice. Not enough to make it a big deal among them, right? They still know Microsoft has 23 studios. They bought Bethesda, so the hardcore has this long-term plan they're seeing. But my question is this: how long before the casuals notice? And that's where it gets tricky, because once the casuals latch on to a narrative, they don't let it go, right? They don't go with the day-to-day, or let me look at this podcast, or let me look at this news clipping, let me go to Neo, let me go to Reset Era. They're not into that. Once they hear a narrative of something, they just ride it along, and that's it. You ain't changing their minds. So how long before the word of PlayStation 5 is actually producing the results? PlayStation 5 is producing the compelling titles, right? It's not just buzzwords. It's not just something you just talk about in a podcast. It's not just something you make a forum note in Reset Era. It's actual games that's backed by this technology, and you can see it, you can appreciate it, and the industry is applauding the developers behind these games. At what point does the casual finally hear that? And that's where things get tricky, right? Right now, as much as the hardcore Xbox fan base is giving Microsoft that long leeway, that fundamental understanding that it takes time to make games, it takes time, wait for tools and all this stuff, casuals aren't that, patient, right? Especially when it comes to, you have two products that are on the market. If one product is already delivering on the buzzwords, 4K ray tracing, beautiful graphics, they'll just jump on. And then the fact that on a PlayStation 5, you can have these gorgeous looking games in your hands starting at $399. You don't have to pay the $499 unless you want the disc. And a lot of these gamers are digital gamers now. So for $399, an amazing performance that rivals and sometimes is better than Xbox Series X, plus the games that's out there, that's going to be very tempting for casuals. The console's already outpacing the PS4 and is still sold out. It's still in high demand. And Sony recently stated that they're looking at maybe secondary production lines to help meet the demand. Now what's crazy is there's more coming this year. It's not stopping. You got Kenna, right? Beautiful looking game, and this could potentially be another big hit. Oddly enough, a Bethesda game which cannot be played on Xbox for maybe at least a year upon release. Funny, because it was Microsoft who bought Bethesda, but yet the first actionable new IP, that gamers can play, is only going to be available on PlayStation 5. Pretty interesting. And then, of course, and if this game does come out this year, like, come on. Horizon Forbidden West? Again, how long does Microsoft have before the casuals realize the Xbox Series X is just a buzzword, while the PlayStation 5 is actually delivering on next generation technology, next generation content, beautiful graphics, the whole shebang that they can actually play with their controller? And that's the hot take. This is your boy Puertorock 77. On your way out, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, I would appreciate if you subscribe. Every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 60 Frames No Lag podcast. I welcome you to join. And of course on Twitter, Puertorock77_. Again, you only friend these YouTube streets? Think about what I said. Let's continue the discussion in the comments section. Spread this around. Anyway, you guys take care. Have an amazing weekend. It's time to hit up some Returnal. You know what I mean? I'm out. Peace.